Hey, it's me again. So I'm already ready. We're gonna go uh, to an opera, a presentation, and I don't even know what I call it because like I feel like when you say the opera, you meant kind of like the place where the opera takes place, but like where it's going to take place. It's not just for operas. It's kind of like a theater. But yeah, so my parents, myself, and a family friend were going, and I'm already ready. So I kind of like wanted to talk about my plans for the next week. You know, it's Saturday, and we're gonna go out, and we're gonna arrive, come back home, and then I will very likely go to bed. So I think today my productivity is kind of like come to an end. So I ended up taking a nap after lunch, and it ended up being like a very long nap because what I wanted to do this afternoon was to finish my presentation. It is not for this Monday, it's for the Monday after that, but I wanted to kind of like conclude it already. And also I wanted to kind of like make some progress with my novel. I'm kind of like I'm on chapter 5 and I'm trying to conclude this chapter. So none of that happened because I was asleep, and also like when I woke up, like I wasn't really able to kind of like get as productive. I've been kind of like doing a lot of reading of the material for me to kind of like work on the presentation, but I have to make some choices, and I'm kind of unsure about some stuff. You know, like what exactly do I show and what is not necessarily relevant, because it's entirely up to me. And so I'm kind of like going through some resolutions that like this council that the presentation is about like our National Archive Council. So I'm kind of like looking at some of the resolutions. Then I'm like, okay, what is important, what isn't. I'm kind of like I'm making progress, but I haven't for the PowerPoint presentation hasn't changed that much. I've kind of like added something here and there, but like there's still like a long way to go. And there's also stuff with some information from like the past. I'm like, do I include this, do I not include this? But it's still like I'm not thinking about giving up or anything, and that is in itself a victory of sorts. I'm thinking about the previous like the older the other kind of like majors that I've attempted, and how like I was kind of not really invested, and there's a lot of stuff that I didn't do, and like but not today, not in this major. Like this is really seems to be the one for me. So I am thinking about concluding this, and these challenges are not really getting in the way. It's also kind of like, and also like ultimately, like if I get it wrong, because I think that is kind of like the biggest issue here, so what, I'm there to learn, so it's okay if I kind of like don't get everything right. I just kind of like want to figure out like what's the best that I can do. And I think there's a fine line between like you doing your best and you kind of like having expectations that are really unrealistic for yourself. So I'm kind of like navigating like that plane. And I think I'm gonna come out victorious on the other side. There's no reason why I would not. But yeah, so that is kind of like where I am at today. I am at a point with my writing where it's not that I'm stuck, but I am kind of like thinking. I actually have a situation which sometimes is the opposite of what I usually have when I have like no idea, is that I have too many ideas. So I'm like, which one am I going to choose? Which one is going to be the best? Once again, I think I'm like in that line of like I'm gonna do the best I can, but then crossing into maybe a threshold of having unrealistic expectations of myself. But I'm gonna finish this video. I'm still going to have like half an hour or something, so I think I'm going to be focusing on my writing, because that one I can write all three and see where it goes. But that is kind of like a blessing, right? Sometimes you have no idea, sometimes you have too many ideas. But I was talking about like my kind of like expectations for the next week and what I want to do. So there are a number of different assignments that I have to finish. So tomorrow I want to kind of like finish this PowerPoint presentation and like the Word document. That the information is the same. It's just that in PowerPoint presentation it is kind of like divulged in a more interesting way, which is kind of like something that I always value like in my presentations. It's been a while since I've had to do a PowerPoint presentation. Now I think I might have to do another one, because there is an assignment that we have that we're gonna have the results. It's kind of like an interview with this archivist. I don't know if this is the word I would use in English. much, but you know, like she's graduated. She's graduated in archaeology, which is actually archival sciences. I looked it up. So she's graduated in archival sciences, and we had to kind of have a little interview, and she's going to send us the answer tomorrow. So then we'll have to kind of like have a presentation, and I volunteered to kind of like do the PowerPoint presentation. So there's that presentation. There is the one that I'm already doing. There is the one that is from like a different, you know, subject that is that I have to kind of like you know, format, you know, like my answers, because I answered a lot of stuff in topics, and like we needed it to be kind of like you know, straight up, no you know, topics, so I had to kind of like do that. So those are, and then after these presentations, there's going to be more presentations in the future. So there's that. But these are, you know, the things I kind of like want to finish tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to a match, a football match between, you know, my team, you know, and another team. So it's going to be me and my parents and, you know, my family, a lot of other relatives and friends. And, you know, I kind of like asked, because this, you know, classmate of mine, like he kind of like works, I don't know exactly where he works, but he got us some, you know, some passes. So it's 16 passes. So it's going to be a lot of people, and it's going to be exciting, and I'm excited. You know, like it's been, I think the last time I went to a match was in 2021, you know, which is crazy because we used to go more, you know, to matches. At some point, I think that the reason why we stopped a lot of different things, because sometimes I was the other day talking to my mom and was like, why is that we kind of like stopped doing X, Y, and Z? And I realized like, oh, I got sick, you know, like I got unstable, so you know, we ended up like not going out a lot. But like now we're at a different stage of things. Like I'm happy, healthy, and stable again, so can do things. And he said that he can get, you know, kind of like passes not only for, you know, this match, for other matches as well. So, you know, exciting. Looking forward to that. But yeah, so something else I wanted to talk about. This is kind of like a resolution that I have for the next 6 months. But you know, this dress that I got, it's new. I've been meaning to like not buy stuff for like a while. The only reason why I haven't started this resolution earlier is because the whole, you know, secret Kai and, you know, secret, you know, shopper thing that I was a part of. So I kind of like bought some stuff, but I bought, you know, the cheapest thing that I could find. And then the idea is that what's been happening the past month, I've been going to the stores and seeing if I can find anything, you know, like that, you know, was worth it, you know, good price and good quality. And yesterday I ended up going, it was 3 stores, and I went to the 3 stores and I found, you know, some stuff, you know, a really good price. So I exchanged for what I had already bought. I had to pay a little bit more, but still, like, it was totally worth it. You know, like this dress that I'm wearing, that you can see so well with like this little cape thing that is going on. It is kind of like, it's a little more formal. I have a lot of like black dresses that is, you know, something that don't look there, you know, it's kind of like excessive almost. So I got this dress and I got 2 other dresses, one from each you know, store. So, you know, with this being done, I kind of like have established for myself that I don't want to buy any articles of clothing, you know, or accessories or anything, or shoes, whatever, for the next 6 months. And I, you know, basically like my strategy is just going to be basically not going to, you know, like the stores, because I don't buy everything and anything that I see. It's just that I usually kind of like I'm scavenging, you know, for, you know, good deals. And the thing is, like, more often than not, I find good deals, so I end up acquiring them. So like financially, it hasn't really been a burden, because, you know, I'm kind of like, as I said, good prices. I only, you know, I don't buy stuff that, you know, the price isn't good. But yeah, so it's not really, hasn't been a burden as per se, because it's not like I'm going out every day and buying something. It's like once or twice a month. But like I already have enough clothes, and I am still doing that thing where, you know, like one item gets in and one item, you know, gets out. Like that is still kind of like my strategy. But my store is kind of like a little stagnated, you know, like I haven't been getting less stuff, and it's still like I still have, you know, like too many things, you know. So I'm thinking about putting up stuff, you know, more. But like if I put them up there for more, I have to buy them cheaper. But like this store, like the online store slash app that I use to kind of like sell my stuff, they had this new kind of like possibility where you don't have to pay any taxes, you know, in like whatever you're buying, so, or in whatever you're selling. So I'm thinking about taking advantage of that. So I'm kind of like thinking about the stuff that I'm going to put up for sale, and yeah, let's just, you know, wait and see where it goes, because there are some things also, like, you know, it's an interesting moment for me to see what exactly, you know, I can sell and what, you know, isn't really I don't know, because I think that, for example, I think I have a lot of bottoms that I'm gonna put up for sale because they, number one, they're not fitting me right now. I am going to lose weight, so they're going to get, like they're going to resume fitting me at some point. But there are some of them that like I would have to be kind of like underweight for them to fit me. So those I'm thinking about, yeah, let me just get rid of them. And some others that they have fit me at different points in time. I don't know. So I'm kind of like thinking about doing that. So that's kind of like like this is a goal that I had, because basically like last month, because I like to try new things, particularly snacks, beverages, and all of that. And so I ended up buying a lot of stuff that is just like very cheap each thing, but like it ends up adding up. And I kind of like I had this purpose, I had this goal, not this purpose, this goal last month that I didn't want to spend a lot of money, and I basically didn't. So it's totally possible. So I'm kind of like being more selective with the snacks I consume. I think I'm being more selective with food in general that I consume. I think I'm like at a point where I am thinking more of because my mom, she has this quota thing where she thinks like she has a quota of be able to consume something per week. So she kind of like picks and chooses what she's going to consume. So for example, sweets. I've been the idea is for me to say no to certain sweets, and I've been kind of like doing that. So I'm already working out that better than so it's already better than it was before. But basically, I can still do better. So I want in my eating in general for me to have like this notion of quotas, like I can consume X, Y, and Z per week. So what I'm gonna choose. I'm not just going to eat everything. And I think this is going to be a really good habit for me. And as I mentioned before, I'm getting closer to 30, and once I get there, things are going to be different. I'll have to kind of like be more conscious of the things that I'm consuming, the things I'm putting in my body, on my body, and all that. So that is kind of like where I am at. I'm not succeeding as per se. Like there's still kind of like, I think you could call it like a struggle meal that I have. It's not even like a meal. It's just like cream, like milk cream and chocolate powder. And I had specifically this chocolate powder is called Alpino, which translates to Alpine, and Alpine, Alpine. It's one of the two, which is kind of like a chocolate brand that is really good. I really like it. I mean, in terms of like the more affordable chocolates, if you start going up, like the pyramid, you get stuff that is even better. But I really like it, and this is one that my mom has always liked as well. I remember buy chocolate boxes, and those ones like they would go to my mom. So it's interesting. Yeah, like kind of like each of us had kind of like a claim on different chocolates. But basically like we had chocolate powder that is from like that, and it is so good. So I kind of like I mix I was going to say some, but it is a lot, and it's very dark. The mixture is very dark, and I've been the past few weeks consuming it, like maybe not necessarily every day, but every other day. Honestly, sometimes there's been some weeks that it was like every day I'm consuming a little thing of cream plus this chocolate powder, and that is not healthy. And that's the thing about the quotas. I'm like, okay, so I have a quota per week. I'm not gonna waste it on this. I'm gonna waste it on something else. And it's interesting because like I think the way that my head used to kind of like operate is that I'll be like, oh, but I'm gonna consume this sooner rather than later because I might get to the end of it and then I will not have fully used my quota, and the way I'm kind of like going about this right now is that it's okay. I don't want to if I get to the end of the week and I didn't consume anything, great, like I want that. It's going to be hard to go from 100 to 0, but like it is doable, and it is a journey, it's a process. So I just have to respect myself because I don't want to because sometimes when you deny yourself something, I think this is true for everything, but I'm talking specifically about food, you kind of end up being pent up in a certain way, so you end up like exaggerating, you're kind of like consuming too much of something when you do have the opportunity to eat that thing. Also, something else that I'm changing in my diet is because I need more protein. So I've been eating a lot of eggs. Like eggs have been an interesting part of my diet. I know that eggs for breakfast is kind of like a common thing, but it's usually not. You don't necessarily see this too much here in Brazil. or maybe it depends on, I mean, I can't think of people with like certain diets that would do that, but I think, you know, like it's more common for you to have coffee and bread with butter and, you know, something. I'm not really an avid consumer of bread, which is a good thing because I like bread just like the next person, but this is one of those things that's like, I think I do this with carbs, you know, so like I rather, you know, like have this, so for example, if you have like, you know, during lunch, it is common for us uh, you can very have like rice and beans, you know, like rice and beans, and you have some meat, some salad, you can have some side dishes, you can have some vegetables, you know, and so like that's kind of like the structure. But for example, if I'm eating something and there's already some other type of carb that isn't rice, I don't consume rice, I consume the other thing. So, you know, like I think I've been doing this a lot with my carbs, and but at the same time, like that's kind of like easy for me. The hard part for me is sweets, like giving up sweets, like that is just almost unthinkable from my part. But you know, it is important. It is something that that I'm kind of like doing. But yeah, so basically, what I want to say is that I was talking about like my goals for the next week. So I'm counting, so tomorrow is the first day, so I'm counting on myself. So what am I gonna do? What I'm gonna do? I want to finish the current PowerPoint presentation that I'm working on, plus, you know, like the written, you know, form that is going to come along it. I want to, you know, work on the you know, like the one that I wrote in topics, and it has to be like one following thing. I want to do that as well. And maybe, you know, if we get the, you know, like the answers, you know, to this, because we're probably going to get it like later towards the day, so I'm gonna do this Monday, you know, like that presentation. I want to get it right away because, you know, I'm not gonna do it and then I'm gonna send it to the group, and everybody's going to be able to kind of like say something about it. Also, you know, with my presentations, I like to spend some time like choosing the template. So, you know, I could do that, you know, tomorrow as well before I finish doing things. I'm just going to, you know, template and kind of, you know, like deciding something that would be fitting. So yeah, so I want to get this as done as soon as possible, so that